Said in a statement, no matter how long it takes, justice will be done. U.S. officials are concerned about al-Qaeda striking back. The State Department has issued a worldwide travel alert for U.S. citizens. But that's not stopping the celebrating in the U.S.
And it's one of those few days you get to rejoice and you know that justice is a real thing.
The U.S. says bin Laden's body was handled in accordance with Islamic tradition, and that his remains were buried at sea. Before addressing the nation, President Obama made phone calls to both former Presidents Clinton and George W. Bush to deliver the news. In Washington, I'm Joel Brown. Now back to you.
And joining us on the phone this morning, Kansas Congressman Kevin Yoder, a member of the Military Construction and Veterans Affairs Committees. Congressman, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Yeah, great. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, thank you. Well, the question is where were you when you heard the news and what ran through your mind last night?
Well, I was at home, like a lot of Americans, getting ready to get ready for the week, and heard the news the president was coming on, and instantly started wondering what the big news was. And when we heard it was just before the president went on that it was the death of bin Laden, it was, I'd say, a really American moment for all of us. We all can harken back to September 11th and where we were on that moment, when thousands of Americans were innocently killed. And so to have this day finally come to fruition is just a real source of pride for the American people.
Representative, of course, bin Laden's been hiding out for the last 10 years. How much power do you think he still really had with al-Qaeda? And really, where do we go from here with regards to al-Qaeda?
Well, that's a good question. Sometimes in these situations, if you can, stop the leadership, you can destroy the organization. But this organization is diverse. It's in a lot of different places, and so we know this doesn't end the war on terror, but it certainly strikes a victory for the United States in what many Americans have been wanting to do for 10 years. And the inability to do this was certainly showing that the United States may not have had its entire proposals put together to do this. And so the fact that we were able to finally get this completed, I think, is a victory for the military and for the American people. But you're right, the war against terror continues on, and this alone won't stop it.
Congressman Yoder, our Facebook, our page has been flooded with folks just so patriotic, so proud of what's going on. What's your message to them this morning as they're waking up? Some of them hearing the news for the first time. What is your message to them about this big get, really?
Well, I think the message is that the American people have something to unify around. It's a moment that doesn't come quite so often in today's political world, and this transcends political boundaries. It transcends, the common daily battles that go on in Washington. This is a moment for the American people to unite and to know that we have honored the deaths of the innocent victims on 9/11, finally brought bin Laden to justice, and hopefully advance the ball in our effort against the war on terror, and the American people will, in the long run, be much safer.
Congressman Kevin Yoder, thank you so much for joining us this morning with your insightful words on the death of Osama bin Laden. Now, we want to read this statement this morning. This is from Senator Roy Blunt in Missouri, a member of several committees, including Intelligence, Foreign Operations, and National Security. He says, quote, Osama bin Laden's death is a major victory for America. After nearly a decade, it also brings a great measure of justice and closure for all Americans who lost loved ones as a result of the brutal attacks against our nation on 9/11.
And this from Kansas Senator Jerry Moran. He says the killing of Osama bin Laden is, quote, speaks to the resolve of our American troops and intelligence officers who have worked relentlessly for this moment. As we move forward, we will continue our unyielding efforts to dismantle terror networks around the world and protect American lives.
On our Facebook page, people are talking about this as well. Latifah says, quote, I think they should have kept him alive until they convicted him and then gave him death.
And Laura says she feels, quote, relief, but not elation, because I wonder what the U.S. will have to do as far as security. I feel great pride to be an American and to have the military and the president that we do now. God bless America.
And Ashley says, quote, I jumped up so jubilant and ecstatic that I'm pretty sure I've hurt my knees. My voice is gone from all the screaming, but my heart is bursting with pride. I love our troops. Now, the news of bin Laden's death lit up the web overnight. We want to know what you think, so stop by our Facebook page this morning and send us your thoughts. We'll be checking it all morning long.
Former President George W. Bush says he has congratulated President Obama upon learning of bin Laden's death. Mr. Bush said, quote, "This momentous achievement marks a victory for America, for people who seek peace around the world, and for all of those who lost loved ones on September 11th.